I love decluttering. It's such a freeing thing, but there are a few things I really hate about it, and I'm going to share these with you today. Hello, if you're new here, I'm Leah and I'm uploading videos twice a week about minimalism and sustainable living. So if you're interested in these topics and want to see future videos, please subscribe to my channel. The first thing I really hate about decluttering is when you come across things you just can't get rid of. And I don't mean because you want to keep them, but because you have to keep them. There are a few things, especially like documents and stuff, you just can't get rid of. You're not allowed to. And these things don't bring me value, and I'd really like to be able to have them electronically, but there are documents you have to keep in paper form. And then the second thing is something similar, and these are items that you know you are going to be able to get rid of them, but just at this time you have to keep them for a certain project, for an upcoming something. And so you have these, sometimes paperwork as well, sometimes it's just project oriented stuff. And you have these things and you have to keep them, but they are often also sitting around somewhere where they don't belong, because maybe they don't have a home in your apartment, because they are not things that you actually want to keep or that are actually yours, but they're just sitting around there. And the third thing is things that don't belong to you, but they somehow end up in your space. So things that people forget at your place, or that you took with you from an event from somebody else that forgot them, and then you want to bring it to them again, but you don't know when you're going to see them again, or things you actually have already decluttered and somebody said, oh yeah, I want to have the thing, I'm picking it up next time I'm in your area, but then that really doesn't ever happen. And they're just sitting around in your home and you don't want to have them anymore, and you have actually already decluttered, or they're not yours, but they're still taking up space. The next thing I hate about decluttering is items you can't get rid of because you can't really give them to somebody else anymore, but you don't want to waste them. In my life, that would be a pair of jeans that has already gotten some holes, but that doesn't really fit me, so I don't like it. So I can't really get rid of it, because the only thing I could do is throw it away, but then that would be wasted resources, because I could wear this pair of jeans again with holes and I wouldn't mind, but just because they are not a good pair of jeans, I actually don't really want to keep them. But now what I'm doing, because I can only waste them or keep wearing them, so there's no good way of getting rid of them. And the next thing is items that you already have decluttered, but that are in your house waiting to be brought somewhere. And that pile of things that is already decluttered is still taking up space, because certain things are just really hard to get rid of. Because if you can just bring everything to a secondhand store, that's pretty easy. But if it gets harder, like if you have to bring it to certain places, or if you want to sell them and have to wait for somebody that wants to buy an item, then it can just take so much time, and during that time the things are in your home and taking up space. The last thing I hate is also something you can't really change. I mean, you can't change any of these really, but it's another aspect of it. It's because it feels bad because I've made mistakes. Because sometimes when you declutter, you really stumble upon things that would not have to be there. And you realize that your mistakes made them be where they are right now. For example, started projects. A very, very bad one I had in the past was that I promised friends I would print out some photos, and I printed these photos and I had them at home, and they waited there for me to bring it to these friends. And then after 2 or 3 years, I have lost contact with some of the friends, and I felt so bad, but there was no point in keeping these images because they weren't relevant anymore. So I just got rid of them, but it was purely out of my fault of not bringing them to them at the right time. And things like that just hurt a little bit. I mean, I think it's very good to admit when you made a mistake and to still declutter these things, because there's no point in keeping them, and every time you see them they remind you of the mistake you made maybe. So do get rid of these things, but I really don't like the feelings that come with these kind of things. I love decluttering, and I can promise that it will feel good if you can get rid of all these things that do not make you happy, that you don't want to have in your life. And please keep in mind that it is your responsibility to discard your items in a good way. So please try to make sure that somebody else can use them again if this is possible. And otherwise, of course, try to recycle them. And if this is not possible, yeah, they will be waste eventually. But with that said, I hope you have a nice day, and thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!